One thing that's been featured in a couple of my videos over the years has been Zink. That's the zero ink technology that's used to produce these instant prints. In fact, earlier on this year, I demonstrated a Polaroid camera which printed out from the side onto Zink paper. And under that video, quite a few people asked me, why don't they make a separate standalone Zink printer, because they wanted to use the existing camera in their smartphone, but then they could print out onto a separate device. Well, you can buy those, and you've been able to buy them for quite some time. A few years ago I reviewed this model here, this little LG Zink printer which connects up wirelessly with your phone. In fact, going back to 2009, the first Zink product on the market was a Polaroid Pogo, which also printed out wirelessly from your mobile device. However, I've always been a little bit disappointed with the results from a Zink print. As much as I like the technology, the actual results are always a little bit underwhelming. The colours always seem a bit off from what they should be. But a company got in touch with me recently and offered to send me a new Zink device. So I took them up on it because I wanted to see if it had improved on the previous ones I'd used. And here it is. It's the Prynt Pocket. Now, originally they started off with the Prynt device as a Kickstarter a couple of years ago. This is the second iteration. This is the Pocket version. And this one attaches to iPhones only, iPhone 5 and above. So it connects to the side of it, acts like a bit of a camera grip, but it also prints out of the bottom using the Zink paper. So yes, full disclosure, I haven't paid for this. This is a review copy and I am not getting paid for demonstrating this to you today. I really just wanted to try it out because I wanted to see if the Zink technology was better on this device than the previous devices that I'd used in the past. So let's see how I get on. Zink paper is pretty interesting stuff. It contains layers of yellow, cyan and magenta in a colourless form, which are then activated by the application of heat and pressure, which is used in varying intensities to produce different colours. As you can see here, I can demonstrate this to some degree with the hot tip of a soldering iron. Depending upon how long I keep the soldering iron in contact with the paper, I can vary the colours that are produced. Onto the Prynt Pocket itself, and it has made for iPhone certification. The iPhones it works with are the 5 all the way up to the 7 Plus. That's the most recent model at the time of recording this in August 2017. Inside the box you get 10 pieces of paper, and they also sent me some additional paper. You can see it's 2 by 3 inches across for each printout. This is a 40 pack and it's sticker paper. Once you've cut your way into the outer box, you'll find a nice inner box, which is more like a presentation case. Inside there, you'll find the Prynt Pocket in the top. And once you've removed that, inside the bottom, you get hold of the quick start guide, the USB lead, a paper holder, and those 10 sheets of paper. Now that quick start guide is fine for getting you up and running, but it doesn't go into any detail at all about the application. You're supposed to find your own way around that, and some of it takes quite a bit of discovery, but we'll have a look at that in a moment. Some of these devices have stickers on them. That's just to indicate which part goes into which slot. I think they might have had some issues with people trying to shove things in the wrong way up. So those are just there to help you. You can remove those once you've figured it all out. So here's the Prynt Pocket itself. You can see I've got a shutter button on the top, little wheel there for a zoom, and the paper goes in the top of there. But before we can do anything with it, we first have to download the app, which is of course on the App Store. Once you've got that downloaded, you have to either create an account or sign in with Facebook. I don't have a Facebook account, so I created one, and then you have to give it various permissions to your photos, as well as to give you push notifications, access the camera on your device and the microphone, because it will record video. Once you've done that, it then gives you some video tutorials to show you how to get started, so it's just a matter of following those. So the first step is to get the 10 sheets of paper, leaving the blue card on the top, which is used for some sort of calibration or cleaning or something. Put those inside the paper tray, and then you put the whole tray inside the print device itself. Now you'll notice when you put this in here, it doesn't go all the way inside it. It does stick out to some degree. Now it's time to put my phone into this. The device will extend widthways to suit the wider phones. However, my iPhone 6 Plus wouldn't fit into it when it had the official Apple case on the back. It was just that little bit too wide. I had to remove the case before it would accommodate it. I'd imagine if you had a smaller phone but with a thick case that stuck out from the back a little bit, you'd also struggle. But once you've put the phone into there, you then clamp it down on the phone so it holds it a little bit tighter, and you can see here I've got the LED showing on, and the device recognizes when the phone's attached and says congratulations. So we can now go through my library of photos, and I'll just choose one of these to print out. So that looks like a nice colourful one. Now if I click on next, it takes me into another screen where I'm able to add effects and things to the photo. But notice the photo is in the horizontal position, but the menus are still in the vertical orientation. Anyway, if I click on frames, I can add a couple of different frames to this that look a bit like Polaroids and things, but they do crop the edges off the image. So I don't think I'll bother using any of those on this particular picture, and I think I'll just print it out as standard. So the next thing is just press the print button on the right here and see how we get on. Well, after pressing print, the app then tells me that it's rendering. I'm not quite sure what's happening whilst it's doing that, but then it was going to print. However, it tells me that the battery inside my printer needs charging. Now, when I first saw this advertised, I assumed with it connecting to the bottom of the phone, it was going to use the power from the phone itself, but no, it does have its own separate rechargeable battery. According to the instructions, whilst it's charging, the battery charge indicator light is supposed to flash, but looking at mine, it wasn't flashing. I realised I had to remove the phone from the device before the charging would commence. So after I'd left it charging for a couple of hours, I returned, pressed print again, commence where we'd left off. The blue sheet comes out of the printer first. We can throw that away then, and then we can have a look at the first printout, which is produced with a nice animation effect on the screen. Here's the print coming out of the side of the device, and let's have a look at it. So first of all, here's the original photo as taken with my phone. And now let's have a look at the print, and you can see the colour is a little bit different. If we put the print on the left and the original photo on the right, you can see the colour palette does change quite considerably between the two. The printed version errs more towards bluey shades, definitely. Now we'll have a look at another printout. I've got a nice bright red London bus here, so that should be a nice colour to print out. You can see it's coming out to the bottom here, and it's got a bit of an orange tint to it. Let's just have a look at it in a bit more detail. It's definitely, I wouldn't say bright red, it's more kind of orangey vermilion type colour. If we put it next to my red speaker here, you can see the difference in the colours. Okay, so we'll try some of those additional features in the app. We've got the frames. That one cuts the front of the horse off, so we'll use this one on the right, and then I can put a caption along the bottom if I want. So I'm going to put where the photo was shot, which is Liverpool, and once I've printed that out, you get a nice picture with a little caption at the bottom. Now the app also has editing tools built into it as well, so you can see along the bottom here there's quite a few different things you can do to the pictures. You can draw on them and all sorts of things. You've also got filters that you can put on them to change the colour palette even more. There's a meme option which I've chosen. That enables you to put two lines of text, one at the top and one at the bottom. So I've put, "This is a bus, it serves food." I can't see that one becoming a massive meme. Now, when I reviewed that Polaroid Zink camera earlier on in the year, one of the more popular comments that was posted under it was, "Does it print video?" which was just a joke at the time. However, this device will print video. Well, kind of. I'll show you. So you take a video, a short video of something, so you press record. It gives you a little bit of a timer bar across the top of the screen, you can see, just for a few seconds worth of video. So during that time, I'll move this thing around here. So I've created my video. It's perhaps about 10 seconds or so in length. Now I can print that out, so I'm just printing out the still, the first frame of the video, so there we go. However, if I hold that in front of the camera and press scan in the app, this happens. You can see there's a video sort of embedded in the photo. What's really happening is it's uploaded a video to the server in the cloud somewhere, and it's using pattern recognition on the photo, and it's matching those two things together and using AR to show the video on top of the still. Now, you aren't just restricted to doing this with videos that you've taken inside the Prynt application. Here is a video that I've shot a few days earlier using the normal iPhone camera app, and I'm accessing it from within the Prynt application. I can choose the frame of the video that I want to print out onto that Zink paper, and once I've done that, it will then crop the video in length to something around about 10 seconds. That's the maximum that you can have using this feature. And as you can see here, here's my video playing at the top of the screen. Again, it's horizontal, but the application is in a vertical orientation, but you get the idea. So that's the maximum length of video there. Once I've printed this out, it will upload that video to the cloud. It does take a little while sometimes, but once it's done it, once you get the photo and you tap on it, it will scan it, recognize it, and play back the video that accompanies that image. Now, this is quite an eye-catching effect, and there's a bit of a social network type thing where people are demonstrating themselves playing back the photos with the video overlaid on top, and you're able to, within the app, record yourself whilst it's also showing the AR, and then you can upload it to this Prynt server where you can share these experiences with other people. Well, at least that's the idea. Unfortunately for me, it didn't work. If I ever tried to record myself holding one of these, the application unfortunately just crashed out. And it did this every time I pressed that record button. It got very slow, stuttery, and then crashed. Now, I've got to say, this is not a feature that's of particular interest to me, but I wanted to be able to demonstrate it to you. I rebooted the phone. I made sure there were no other applications running in the background, but unfortunately, it still persisted, so I'm unable to demonstrate that feature to you. But let's go on to something I can show you. You've got a shutter button on the front here and a zoom wheel. The zoom wheel, of course, on this particular phone is acting as a digital zoom. You can see the indicator moving on the left of the screen there, and when you press that shutter button, it creates a little section of video, not just a photo. I'll show you that outside. It's a little bit easier to demonstrate. Right, so I'll start the process from the beginning. Attaching the phone up to the Prynt Pocket brings up a message on screen which you have to click allow on. That then loads up the application. So to take a photo, I'll press the camera icon at the top here. Now when I press the shutter button, I'm going to move the phone around a little bit, and you see I capture a little bit of video. It's similar to the effect you get with one of those live photos, even though they're not normally supported on this particular model of iPhone. And I've also got to mention, I got the camera application to crash on me once as well, so I really think someone needs to take a good look at this app to sort out some of these stability issues. I also experienced a little bit of unusual behaviour with the AR photo modes. Now, of course, this kind of stuff is always a little bit experimental, and it's quite impressive when it does work. However, I did have two photos that were quite similar to one another, and that might have been the reason that this happened, but it created a rather unusual effect when I scanned this particular image. Now, two of these four photos have a video that's associated with them that's already been uploaded into the cloud. If I go into the application, select scan and hold the camera over the photos, you can see the only one that plays is the one at the bottom right. However, I know the one at the bottom left also has a video on it, but it doesn't seem to be playing. Now, if you tap on the image, that's supposed to scan it to be able to identify it and play back the video. So sure enough, if I tap on the screen here, it will scan this image, find the associated video, and start playing it. So I thought, well, maybe that's it. You have to tap on each image if you want to play them. However, if I then go back and look at the other image, we can see that one is playing without me having to tap on it. And I've got to say, there's a lot of quirky behavior going on here in the application, and it doesn't really come with sufficient instructions. You've got to figure a lot of this stuff out for yourself. Now, traditionally, there's been two types of zinc paper available. There's normal and then stickers. The zinc paper used for the Prynt device is the sticker variety. They don't seem to offer the other one with the Prynt branding, but of course it works either as a sticker or not. It just depends if you peel the back off. So there you go, that's the Prynt Pocket, a quirky take on the Zink printer with a couple of novel features. But now on to the wrap-up. After using this device for a while, I've got a feeling it's for an entirely different demographic than myself, an entirely different age group, people perhaps 25 or 30 years younger than myself that are more likely to take a lot of vertical photos and video with their smartphone. I say that because the app itself is designed to be used in a vertical orientation. If you turn it horizontally, the app doesn't switch positions, which is a little bit of an odd decision when you consider the device itself definitely works better horizontally because you've got the shutter button on the top here. When you use it vertically, you have to press it from the side, which seems a little bit inconvenient. I'll have to say, though, that if you were 20 years old and you were buying this, you'd have to have more money than I had when I was that age. You'd have to be able to afford an iPhone of some description, as well as this thing, which is £150 in the UK, which is not an inconsiderable amount of money. It's $150 over in the US, so it's a little bit better value over there. But yeah, I mean, when you can consider that for the same price as this in the UK, you can get that camera which had a built-in Zink printer that I reviewed a while ago. So you get a camera which is also a video camera and a printer for the same price as this, which is just the printer. But that being said, a lot of people would prefer to take photos with their smartphone than a separate device. And unlike some of the other separate Zink printers, with this device, once you plug it in, it will automatically load the app up for you so you can get straight into it. You don't have to connect up over Bluetooth or whatever. So it is easier in that way. I would say, though, that it's designed as a pocket device. I don't think it's really any smaller than this one, which I've already got in my pocket. In fact, that's quite a lot slimmer. This is a little bit shorter, but of course I've got to disassemble it to be able to put it in my pocket. And I'll have to say the app itself was a little bit crashy on my phone in certain sections. I've got a feeling that's because my phone is an iPhone 6 Plus. I think it would be more happy on a more recent model, a 6SE or a 7 or whatever. This is a couple of years old now, and it was struggling. You could feel it was getting pretty hot while it was doing some of the things. And of course that will because also it's uploading things to the cloud. When you're taking those little videos and you're taking your photos, anything that goes through the application goes up to the cloud and is stored on their servers. So you've got to be happy with that idea. And I'll have to say the quality of the Zink prints is the same as I've got out of other devices. So I've just got to have to get used to this now. The fact that Zink printouts don't look quite right. White is never white. It's always a kind of bluey colour. The colours are always a little bit muted, a little bit pastel-y. I suppose that's quite a lot like Polaroids in a way, and people are quite happy with the unusual look that Polaroids give them. So maybe I've just got to get used to the look of a Zink printout. But yeah, this is a device that is only really going to appeal to a very specific audience. But if you are one of the people that it does appeal to, I'm going to have some links to it on Amazon in the video description text box, and you can go and have a look at it on there. But that's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.
Oh, so much to complain about in one video.
Oh, here we go again.
First, he's using an iPhone. I hate Apple.
I've never understood why this matters.
Well, it shows that he's one of the sheep, unlike myself.
Why? What phone do you have?
It's a Samsung Galaxy something or other.
So, it's from the #1 manufacturer of smartphones in the world.
Ah, but it's running the Android operating system, unlike those sheeples phones.
So, it uses the most popular mobile operating system then?
Ah, but the difference is that it's not locked down into some stupid walled garden where you can't do anything at all.
So what do you do on your phone with all this freedom that you have?
I surf the internet, send messages, and play Candy Crush.
That sounds like a brave new world. They must be stupid.
Exactly. Now, second, he's a sellout.
Why?
Well, he's reviewing something that he didn't buy.
You mean like in a review magazine?
How do you mean?
Well, surely you don't think that What Car magazine buys all the cars they review, do you? Or What Hi-Fi magazine buys a dozen record players to do a comparison?
Well, I hadn't really thought about it.
So, you hadn't thought about it, but you'd made your mind up.
Yeah, it saves time. Anyway, He shouldn't be reviewing new things. I came here to watch unknown German hi-fi equipment from the 1950s.
How many of those do you think there are?
It's unknown.
Well, if you don't like the subject, don't watch the video.
But then I'd be missing out.
Missing out on what?
Complaining. It's my favourite pastime.
You don't need to tell me.